Welcome to the latest episode of The Pulse of East Providence with Mayor Bob DaSilva. You know, our administration prides itself on trying to use as many means as possible to get the message out about some of the great things happening in our community. We use this program, of course, social media. We have a wonderful newsletter that's an electronic newsletter that you can sign up for at eastprovidenceri.gov. We're here to provide you the information on some of the great things happening in the city and throughout the city. Today, we have a very special guest. With me today is Laura Jones, the director of our Senior Services Division. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Laura, listen, you know, I like to start out the program by asking my guest to tell us a little bit about yourself. And you can go as far back as you like, you know, where you grew up, where you went to school,
Sure.
Because it's important that our community knows the people that are working on their behalf.
Sure, I'd love to share that with you. I grew up in Southern California, in Orange County, came to the East Coast after college, and had not finished my degree, but went back to school at URI and got my degree in Human Development Family Studies with a minor in psychology. My hobbies include bird watching. I like to travel all over with my husband, who we just celebrated our 42nd wedding anniversary. And we like to travel. We've gone to some very exotic places and to bird watch. And so that's what we do. That's what I do on with my free time.
Well, listen, it's interesting because I love bird watching in my backyard. I've got these bird feeders and I get these beautiful birds coming all over the place, hanging out in the backyard at the bird feeder, and it really is relaxing. I know I'm not getting as much of an array as you are when you're traveling to go look at them, but that's a lot of fun. I do enjoy that. It is very relaxing. But you were, before you came over to work with us, we appointed you in 2019. Tell the community some of the jobs you held before becoming our Senior Services Director.
Absolutely. So for 15 years, I worked for the Rhode Island Parent Information Network, which is an organization that really works with families from really birth to death and across the lifespan, which really was a great opportunity for me because studying human development and family studies, I had a variety of different positions with that organization. I got involved with that organization because I have a son who is on the autism spectrum, and I really thought to myself, I wanted to help other families so that they didn't have to go through what I went through. So I helped other families advocate for their children, learn their rights, and stayed with that company that organization for 15 years. When I left there, I was working at the Department of Health doing programming, evidence-based programming for older adults. So at that point in my career, I wanted to try something different. It was kind of a transition. My children had all grown up. I have 3 adult children, and wanted to do something different. So I started thinking about what that might look like, and I really wanted to work with seniors. So here I am.
And we were fortunate to be able to, get you to come work with us. You've done a lot of great things. I want to start off by first acknowledging the fact that you came on in 2019, and shortly after you came on, we got hit with a worldwide pandemic. And your role really evolved. You weren't just now dealing with senior services, you were dealing with the entire community. Tell us about some of that experience.
Sure. So, it was pretty interesting. I came on board, was just starting to get my bearings, and the pandemic hit, and we closed the state down, and but even though the state was pretty much closed down, the senior center was open, and we just went into gear and pivoted and went to work for the community. So when that happened, the senior center became a COVID hotline, and so we even though we closed our doors to the seniors coming into the building, we were open the whole time. So we had staff that answered phone calls and information for all of our residents. We ended up turning our dining room into a COVID vaccine clinic. We worked tirelessly, the staff, to schedule vaccine appointments and get our seniors who really had never used computers, a lot of them. Technology is not their strength. So the state was requiring them to go online and make these appointments for their COVID vaccines. So we helped them do that. We provided transportation to get testing and also vaccines. And then we delivered food all over the state. We got a very generous donation and became sort of a distribution site for meals that were donated by URI, the University of Rhode Island. They had purchased all these meals for their young adults going to school there for their dining services, and when they shut down schools, they had paid for all these meals. So we agreed to be the distribution site, and those meals were distributed all through East Providence as well as surrounding communities.
I mean, I can't say enough about what you and Diane Sullivan. So really what happened is the Recreation Department and Senior Services Department all came together to take care of all of our residents, including our older population. But one of the things that you learn from these type of events, right?
Sure.
One of the things that we ended up doing was that we started giving people rides to go get their groceries, right? And that still exists now.
Yes.
As a result of that crisis, as a result of the pandemic, we offered a service that we had never offered before. Now we continue with that service today, correct?
Correct. So when things started lifting and we could take off our masks and start getting back to some normalcy, we were actually delivering groceries, the pantry groceries, to seniors out into the community. But when things started lifting, we offered transportation to the grocery store. Many of our seniors stopped driving, and they really needed to get a ride to the grocery store. We were delivering them to their houses, and then we stopped doing that. So that was really, caught on, and we continue it to this day. And we not only have we started out going once a week on Thursdays to provide grocery shopping. Now we go twice a week, Thursdays and Fridays, for East Providence residents. And we just added a new twist to it because people were saying, well, we like going to the grocery store, but it'd be really great if we could go to Walmart because we could buy some other things too, because we just don't have a way to get there. So once a month we take them to Walmart.
That's wonderful. I mean, I think learning or adapting through a crisis situation to meet the needs of our community is what we're all about. And you started talking a little bit about what does a senior center do. It is a long list, but I want you to talk about what the East Providence Senior Center, also known as the Robert Rock Senior Center.
Yes.
What does that center do for our residents? It's a long list.
There is a very long list. I'll try to give you some bullets. I think the most important thing that it does for our seniors is it decreases isolation. We get many seniors who come in for a tour of our center, and I would encourage anybody who's interested in seeing the center to come down, and I would personally like to give them a tour. But they'll say to me, and this isn't just once in a while, this is a lot, very often, we'll get people that will come in and they'll say, I lost my spouse 3, 4, 5 years ago. I've been grieving, sitting in my home, and I'm lonely. And I think that there's a lot of myths that senior centers are places where people go, they think it's like a medical center where people go when they can't live in the community. But that's not what we are. We're an activity center. We're a community center. So when they come, they're very surprised at what we have to offer and how much fun that we have. And so I think that decrease of isolation, they come out, they meet friends, they can come for a meal every day. We are a congregate meal location, so they get a beautiful meal for a $3 suggested donation. We have a state-of-the-art fitness center where people can work out. We have arts classes, we have music and entertainment. We offer programs, that teach people and provide information, advocacy. We're there. We have a full-time elder resource specialist and 2 community health workers who help with filling out applications for different programs that people would be eligible for. If you're not sure if you're eligible, we can talk to you and let you know, help you fill out the paperwork. You can come, the world now is computers. It's smartphones, it's tablets, everywhere you go. Seniors are kind of left in the dust, and this COVID pandemic really brought that to our attention. So we offer computer classes. We offer help with your smartphone. We have cribbage, we have bridge, we have mahjong, we have a beautiful walking path, beautiful landscaped, brand new, that the senior center, the city has built on the senior center property, which I'm sure you're going to talk about. But we have places for them to sit outside. I mean, there is so much to do. So whatever your interests are, I think we can accommodate you.
And I love how you started off by saying that isolation is the biggest issue with seniors, right? People when they're alone become depressed, and they don't look after themselves, they don't look after their health, and things can deteriorate rather quickly. Having a place to go where you socialize with other seniors and other people of all ages, and then you're granted access to these wonderful programs that you run. I mean, you've got all these great one-day programs where the seniors can take advantage of those type of things. It really does make a difference in people's lives. And I like what you said. It's a senior activity center. It's not a place that you just have lunch, but the lunch is always great too. Don't get me wrong. You have a great lunch program there for a $3 suggested price. And we're always trying to get more people to become members. We want more people, and it's not expensive to become a member. What's the fee, annual fee on that?
Yeah, so if you're an East Providence resident, it's $15 for the entire year. We do have a lot of members that come from surrounding cities and towns, and it's $20 a year. So really, that just helps us keep the lights on and helps us with some supplies, but it's a great deal.
Wonderful. Now let's talk about some of the renovations. We could talk about that, some of the renovations we've done and some that we plan and that are currently in the planning process. What we've done is, with some funding that we had available, we've completely redone the grounds. We added new walking paths, concrete walking paths. They used to be asphalt. They were bumpy. They were uneven. We heard from the seniors who were concerned about tripping and falling. So we put some funding into that. And I was actually out there the other day. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The lights have been put in place, sprinkler system's all set, and then we have a pickleball court.
Correct.
So we look at this as a center where our seniors, we want them to come there and take full advantage of all the activities available. Go for a walk, enjoy yourself, sit down, have conversation, and maybe engage in some pickleball. I know you have a walking club. Talk about that. What's that all about?
Yeah, so we actually have a part-time nurse who...
Shani, right?
Shani.
All right, Shani.
Shani, and she's wonderful. Our seniors love her. And Shani started a walking club, and she brought in all sorts of speakers to help with weight loss and nutrition, and part of that was a walking club. So that program is actually completed, but our walkers are still walking. Wonderful. They're out there every day doing a loop and staying healthy.
But another huge benefit of having the senior center is, of course, Shani. I mean,
Absolutely.
She's a part-time nurse. So how often do you, as anybody, senior or not, you may not feel that well, something may be bothering you, and you're hesitant to go see a medical professional. But you have Shani available to you to come in and visit, right?
Yeah, so Shani, any of our seniors can go in when Shani's there and just see her, get their blood pressure checked. If they have some sort of wound care that needs, she can change a dressing. She can help you find a primary care doctor or a specialist. She has We have she schedules our podiatrist who comes once a month, so we have that as a service that we provide. She's set up a flu clinic that we're going to have this fall in October, and so seniors can come down and get their flu shot. She's also working on a dental clinic. Shawnee, when she first came on board, I wanted her to, I worked with my connections at the Department of Health to get a grant to get Shawnee trained up to be a diabetes outpatient educator. So she has that so she can check blood sugar. She does, twice a year, she does a diabetes prevention program, which is an evidence-based program. And so our seniors really have that as a resource. But she also, she has brought in pharmacists to go over medications. She really coordinates all of our health programs as well as provides that direct clinical care.
I think that's so important, especially for our seniors who may not have regular access to medical providers. We have this right here as a resource in our community. Amanda Mattress, I don't want to leave her out of the equation because she's incredible too.
Absolutely.
Amanda Mattress is your elder resource specialist, right?
Correct.
And she connects our seniors with programs that they may not be aware exist. Sometimes these programs, I know Ocean State Independent Living is one of those programs that helps people with mobility issues, or maybe you need to make a modification to your home and something needs to happen. There are so many programs out there available to help our seniors with actual funding, money that will help make your life easier and more accessible. Can you talk about some of the things that Amanda does?
Absolutely. So Amanda is wonderful. Our seniors are so lucky to have her. She came to us with a background in housing, which is something that's really needs a specialization. So she really has helped a lot of our seniors who are living in their own homes, who need to start thinking about what they're going to do in the future. So getting them on some of these senior housing lists, because the wait list is pretty long. She helps them to plan ahead. Also, she helps with utility assistance. We don't want anybody to have their utilities turned off, but if that's something that you're facing, she will help with that. She helps fill out applications. You mentioned Ocean State Independent Living. We've had, Amanda had them come in and do a talk for our seniors to talk about what they offer and the referral process. In fact, she recently helped somebody get a ramp in their house. Now, people think seniors nowadays are going into assisted living, into nursing homes when they become older. That does happen still, but the majority of us are wanting to stay in our home in our community, and we want to stay there as long as possible. That's where we feel comfortable. We want to do that, and so there's a lot of supports out there, and sometimes they're hard to navigate, but they're out there to help you to be able to stay in your least restrictive environment and to stay in your home and community as long as you can.
And that's wonderful. And that's what Amanda's main role is with the senior center, so she does a great job. I mean, you did kind of touch on this, healthy aging. That's the new terminology. We talk about healthy aging. Can you explain what that really means? What was that concept?
Absolutely. So healthy aging is really, how do you stay healthy as long as you can? There's a lot of things that we can do to stay healthy as we age. We can take care of our nutrition. We can take care of our health, get our checkups and our screening. But really, most of health really happens outside of the doctor's office. And that's what we call social determinants of health. And social determinants of health really focus in on things like your mental health, your being able to have a plan for transportation, feeling safe where you live, legal services, nutrition. Really, it's all those social aspects of life that really keep you healthy. So that's what we focus on.
Wonderful. Now, you mentioned it earlier, you were able to get a grant to help Shawnee become a diabetes specialist. I know you've gotten a lot of grants. I mean, one of the things that you're responsible for is putting together grant applications. Can you talk about some of the great grants that you've been able to achieve over the last few years?
Yeah, so the most recent one that we received this year was called Expanding the Public Health Workforce. When I was in my job right before I came on board with being the Director of Senior Services, I worked with the state, with the Department of Health, to really launch the community health workforce in the state of Rhode Island. I helped with the requirements, the certification, and really to get that set up for our state. So it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I'm a certified community health worker. And so I applied for that grant, which really, what the grant title is, it helps us expand community health workers. Now, what a community health worker is somebody who is known by the community, trusted by the community. It's not a professional like a social worker, a nurse, any kind of a clinical position. It's a community member who has navigated those resources, maybe for themselves or a family member, who can really take hold of the hand of a resident and help them through that process. We try to make sure that our community health workers are kind of look like the community so that they can really connect with those hard to reach populations. And so this grant did allow us to bring in 2 community health workers into the senior center. They're both working on their community health worker certification, and they work alongside Amanda at the senior center, and it's been very successful. The grant was for 2 years. We got around $144,000 to be able to have, support the salaries of those 2 people.
That's wonderful. It's almost like having an advocate, a personal advocate to advocate
Correct.
for our seniors, to get them the services and health care that they need. That's incredible. Now, I know you also worked on some other grants for, we purchased a bus not too long ago, right? We had
Yeah.
and we're looking at getting some more buses, but we purchased a bus not too long ago, and that was partially with a grant, correct?
Correct. So, so every year we apply. We've applied over the last few years for a state designated grant. So, it's really the amount that each senior center receives is based on the number of seniors that we have in our population.
Yeah.
So, but you have to, write the grant, letting them know how you're going to spend the money. And we've been fortunate enough, we're able to receive enough money to partially cover a new van with a wheelchair lift to help transport our seniors to and from the senior center and the other activities that we do.
That's wonderful. Now, right now, I see that you brought with you your newsletter. This goes out monthly, right? And it's
Correct.
It's chock full of information.
Yes.
All members, and it's actual. Do we do it by email now, or do we send it out as paper printed? How do we do this?
So let me. I'll hold it up. This is our September newsletter that hasn't been. It's at the printer right now, but this is every month we put this together, and we also have it on the City of East Providence website at
EastProvidenceRI.gov.
Correct.
EastProvidenceRI.gov.
And you go to senior services, you go to the departments and go into senior services, and there's a link at the bottom for newsletters.
Yeah.
And you can go back and look at all of our newsletters and also the most recent one. This has, everything in it that's happening in the month, and also like some things that are coming up so that you can be prepared. We have a calendar of all of our activities and when they're happening. And then on the back of each newsletter is the menu of what's for lunch.
So, there's, how many pages is that? That looks...
It is 15 pages.
15 pages, chock full of information. about some of the services that are going on at the Robert Rock Senior Center, where Laura Jones is the Director of Senior Services. I think it's vitally important that we get the word out. If you're watching this program right now and you know a senior who's isolated or maybe needs to get involved, please bring them down, meet with Laura. She'll, give them the 5-star tour.
Absolutely.
And Laura, I mean, it's not expensive, $15 a year, right? And it's easy. And once you're there, we want more people to be involved. We want to get these services out to as many people as possible. It's a wonderful thing that you've got going on here, Laura. Now, we are also working on some other renovations coming up. I know you're working on making some renovations to the kitchen.
Correct.
Right? We're working on some renovations to replacing some windows on the lower level of the building. Is that correct?
Yeah, so a little history about the building. The Senior Center building was the old Providence Country Day School, and then there was an addition put onto the building. So the part of it, if you come into the addition, it looks very new, but there's another part of the building that kind of looks like a school. It's a wonderful, very warm, inviting environment. Our dining room has new floors, new tables, new chairs. It's been painted. And so we're looking, our seniors who have been coming for lunch have really picked up. The word is out. They're all coming for lunch. And so we really wanted to make our kitchen a little bit, better able to use it in a more effective way. So we're in the process of doing a kitchen renovation. And we're replacing the windows in the older section of the building. And our dining room, since I've been there, we also put in hurricane windows in the dining room because the senior center is used as a hurricane shelter.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And one of the things that we want to just reemphasize is that we don't have a recreational facility for our youth. We have moved some of those recreational programs into the lower level of the older building. And it really has worked out well because we've gotten intergenerational programs going on where the seniors are embracing the youth and the youth are embracing the seniors. Well, listen, you just spent half an hour with Laura Jones, our Director of Senior Services, here on the Pulse of East Providence with Mayor Bob DaSilva. We aim to bring you the latest information about what's going on in our community. And the Robert Rock Senior Center and the services that they provide there are one of the things that give me the most pride in our community because we're taking care of our older population, sometimes our most vulnerable population. So we encourage you to get involved, check it out, check out the website, and bring your relatives, your neighbors, or people that would benefit from the program to meet Laura Jones and her staff. Once again, it's been great talking to you on the Pulse of East Providence with Mayor Bob DaSilva. We'll see you out there.